Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. And in today's video I will continue bringing you the story of Tiểu San and hoai. A journey that is still unfolding with many intertwined emotions, many things that cannot yet be named, and especially memories that seemed long buried, but are now slowly being awakened. Today we will continue to follow the journey of CEO hoai reconnecting with his biological father. A journey that is not simply about reunion, but about confronting the past and the wounds that have never truly healed. In the previous episode, we learned the truth behind his father's return. A truth that would make anyone pause upon hearing it. After more than 30 years of leaving behind Mrs. Thoa and their child to pursue his own path, he returned under circumstances he never wished for. No longer a man chasing unfinished ambitions, but someone carrying a serious illness, facing the limits of time. It was at that moment, when everything was no longer endless, that he began to look back at his life, at what he had left behind. 30 years. That span of time is not just numbers. It is an entire lifetime. Years in which a child grew up without the presence of a father. Years in which a woman had to carry everything on her own, facing hardships and silent struggles without a true support. And also enough time for wounds to no longer feel new, but instead become deep scars etched into memory, not easily erased. He returned, carrying regret, carrying the desire to make amends, carrying apologies that perhaps came too late, and also a large fortune, something he believed might in some way make up for the losses of the past. But in this episode, everything is no longer about his thoughts or wishes alone. It becomes a direct collision with reality. After finding Mrs. Thoa's address, after confirming that hoai is truly his son, he no longer kept his distance, no longer watching from afar, no longer quietly observing. He began to approach, to face the very place he once walked away from. His footsteps repeated many times in front of the same door. That door was not just an entrance, but like an invisible boundary, where the past and present meet, where each time he stood there, he was not only waiting for someone to open the door, but waiting for a chance, even the smallest one, to be heard. But every time was the same. The door did not open the way he had hoped. Mrs. Thoa did not accept him, not with emotional rejection, not with harsh accusations, but with a clear, cold distance, a firmness that needed no explanation. Her eyes no longer held the softness of the past, no longer the gaze of a woman who once believed, once waited, once hoped. Instead, there was calmness, distance, a layer of emotion that had been closed off long ago. Her voice was not loud, not harsh, but every word carried an unshakable certainty. As to her, what had happened was not something that could be overlooked. 30 years of raising a child alone. 30 years of facing shortages, pressures, and loneliness without anyone to share the burden. 30 years of living with incomplete memories. All of that was not just a story of the past. It was a part of her life. A part that could not be separated. And because of that, it could not be erased with a few apologies. It could not be changed simply because someone returned in the present. Yet he kept coming back. Not because it was easy, but because he understood. If he stopped, he might never have another chance. His appearances were no longer hesitant, but persistent, even knowing the outcome might not change. And then, it didn't stop there. He went to find hoai, no longer through anyone else, no longer indirectly, but face to face. Perhaps in his mind, if he could not reach the mother, then the son would be his last hope. But hoai's reaction was completely different. Not an emotional outburst, not a storm of accusations, but silence, accompanied by refusal. Hoai did not want to listen, did not want to see him, did not want to let that man step into his life. In his mind, that father had ceased to exist long ago. Not lost now, but lost from the very moment he left. A child who once waited, once hoped, once carried unanswered questions. But over time, those things faded away, not because answers were found, but because they were no longer needed. The waiting had ended long ago, and his presence now no longer held meaning, no longer something Hai longed for, but only the return of a past he had tried to leave behind. Not once returning in more than 30 years. Not a single word of concern. Not a single sign of care. So, when that man appeared again, nothing could suddenly change. Nothing could suddenly become easy to accept. Inside Hai, that emptiness had existed for too long. So long that it became familiar. And because of that, the presence of his father felt unfamiliar. Despite being rejected again and again, Hai's father did not give up. It wasn't that he didn't see the coldness. It wasn't that he couldn't feel the growing distance between himself and Mrs. Thoa and her son. It was because he understood that if he stopped now, then everything he was trying to hold on to would completely disappear. There would be no more chances. No more opportunities to make amends, to say another word, to hope, even if only a little. Few days later, he came again. This time his steps were no longer slow, no longer hesitant, but carried a clear determination. And this time, he did not come empty-handed. In his hand was a large briefcase. That briefcase was not just something he carried with him. It was everything he could bring. Inside it was money, a lot of money, stacks of cash neatly arranged, as if he had prepared them long ago. Not rushed but carefully considered. And not just money, there were important documents, inheritance papers, documents confirming that everything he had built throughout his life, from effort, time to all the achievements he once pursued, was now being transferred. All of it was for Hai. The moment he stepped in, the atmosphere in the room immediately changed. No longer an ordinary silence, but a tension that spread clearly. Every glance, every movement, everything became heavier. He placed the briefcase down, not forcefully, but enough to draw everyone's attention. The soft sound of contact, like a marker, like a moment from which everything began to rise to a climax. His voice trembled, not from weakness, but from emotions that had been suppressed for far too long. He said he didn't have much time left. Not a statement to gain sympathy, but a truth he was facing every single day. A truth that, the more he thought about it, the harder it became to remain calm. He did not expect Hai to forgive him immediately. He did not dare to ask for that, because he understood. Forgiveness is never easy, especially after what he had done. He only hoped to make amends, even if just a small part, even if it couldn't erase the past. At least, it might lighten some of what had happened. He wanted to give everything, keeping nothing for himself. Everything he had was for Hai, his biological son, the son he had abandoned, the son for whom he had never truly fulfilled the role of a father. Every word he spoke was not rushed, not overwhelming, but slow, as if each sentence had passed through countless thoughts, countless regrets before being spoken. He spoke of regret, not a momentary regret, but a lasting one, deeply rooted, following him through every day, every night. He spoke of sleepless nights, moments when everything around him was quiet, and the past became clearer than ever. Images of what once was, decisions he had made, choices that now he could never change. He spoke of pain, not physical pain, but the pain inside, knowing that time was no longer enough to fix things, realizing that there are things that no matter how much one wants can never be undone. But through all of that, Hai remained silent. He didn't interrupt, didn't react immediately, just stood there, listening. But that silence was not a sign of hesitation. It was like a pause before everything would be spoken more clearly. Then he spoke, not loudly, Not harshly, but firmly. Each word, clear, without hesitation. Hai refused. Not because the money in front of him wasn't enough. Not because those documents had no value, but because there are things that cannot be replaced with money, cannot be compensated with assets. In Hai's heart, that pain was not something measurable, not a number, not a value that could be exchanged. It was the years of absence, a childhood he had to go through alone, the moments of seeing others with their fathers while he had none, his mother's tears, the tears he had seen, remembered, and could never forget. All of those things could not disappear because of a briefcase full of money, could not be erased by a few inheritance papers. Hai did not need it, not because he didn't understand their value, but because he did not want to accept it, did not want to trade, did not want to let material things come in and change what he had held on to for so many years. His answer was not long, but enough to make everything clear. And beside him, Mrs. Thoa stood there, not interrupting, not speaking, just quietly watching. Her gaze did not focus on one side, but seemed to take in everything, every word, every expression, every moment unfolding before her. On one side was the man who had once walked out of her life, leaving behind years of incompleteness. On the other was the son she had given everything to raise, to protect, to shelter. Two people, two pains, standing before each other, without needing many words. Yet everything was already clear. The air felt suffocating. No clear sound echoed in the room anymore. Everything that had just happened, the words, the suppressed emotions, the firm rejection, all seemed to still linger in the space, not yet faded, yet held back by something even heavier. Everything seemed to pause, as if time itself had been held still for a brief moment, but long enough to make the heart skip a beat. And then, in that very moment, when everyone was still standing within emotions not yet named, Hai's father suddenly clutched his chest. It was not a normal movement, not a passing fatigue, but a sudden reflex, urgent, as if a sharp pain had struck without warning, without giving him any time to prepare. His face turned pale instantly, no longer the quiet exhaustion from before, but a change so clear that no one could ignore it. His eyes froze, the lines on his face tightened, his breathing became rapid, broken, uneven. Each breath came in quick bursts, as if he was trying to hold on to something slipping away. His whole body could no longer remain steady. His legs wavered. Step by step, he stumbled backward without direction. No control, no support. He tried to stand, but couldn't. Tried to hold on, but had no strength left. And then, he collapsed. Suddenly, without any clear warning, without giving anyone time to react. In just a moment, the man who had been standing there, who had just tried to say his final words, was now lying motionless on the cold floor. Everything happened too fast. So fast that no one could fully understand what had just occurred. Hai stood there. His entire body seemed frozen in place. His eyes fixed on the man lying before him. But his body did not move, did not step forward, did not step back. Not because he didn't realize, but because everything happened too suddenly, too abruptly. His thoughts could not catch up with reality. Just a moment ago, he had stood there firm, cold, holding on to the distance he had kept for so many years. But now, everything felt overturned. Mrs. Thoa as well. She stood still, silent, not moving forward, not stepping back, just watching. Her eyes no longer held the coldness from before, no longer that unshakable resolve, but a clear shock, an interrupted emotion, as if in that moment, everything she had held inside for so many years was shaken by something completely unexpected. The man who once walked out of her life, the one who carried the pain she had endured for so long, the one who had just returned, with regret, with apologies, with a final hope, now lay there, no longer moving clearly, no longer speaking, no longer the same presence as just seconds ago. The distance between standing and falling was only a moment, but enough to change everything in a way no one could foresee. The room was still the same familiar space, but the atmosphere had completely changed. No longer the tension of conversation, but the heaviness of a situation that held all emotions in place. Each second that passed felt longer, slower, heavier. No one spoke. No one knew where to begin. No one knew what to do in that moment. There was only the image of the man lying there, like a pause, like a silence, but not a gentle one, not an ending, but a transition, from words to a situation everyone had to face, a situation no one could pretend had not happened, a moment that forced each person to confront their own emotions, whether they wanted to or not. Stay tuned for the next episode to see how the story unfolds. And don't forget to leave a comment and share your thoughts.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Nay thì mình đang làm video. Mà nay thời tiết ở chỗ mình thì nó phải nói là nóng chịu không có nổi nữa. Buổi trưa thì mình không có làm việc được, lúc đấy trời nó nóng quá nên là mình sẽ tranh thủ nghỉ ngơi. Xong buổi tối thời tiết mát hơn thì mình sẽ tranh thủ mình làm việc. Mình sẽ kiểu là lúc nào làm thì mình sẽ tập trung làm đó mọi người. Đây. Bây giờ thì mình đang làm video và hôm nay mình tiếp tục kể cho mọi người nghe về cái hành trình nhận bố quả Hải nha mọi người. Cảm ơn mọi người rất nhiều đã xem video của mình. Hẹn gặp lại mọi người trong những video sau. Bye bye. Nhớ đăng ký kênh của mình để đón xem những video phần tiếp theo thật hay và hấp dẫn nha mọi người.